Hello everybody, the Quiet Atheist here. Before I get started with this video that I want to make for you guys, I want to inform you all that this video is going to be the video that I promised you regarding this whole Elliot Rodger issue. Now before I get into the meat of the video, there's three things that I want to go over with you guys. And the first must be that this video is going to be a very personal video for me. I want you guys to know a little bit more about me. I want you guys to know a little bit more about the Quiet Atheist. And another reason why I want to bring this issue up is because there was a lot of people that made videos about this whole Elliot Rodger thing. And it actually offended me to hear what some of these people had to say. And not only did it offend me, I think that there were a lot of people that didn't really know what they were talking about. And there was a lot of, ways that they were talking about the whole situation. And I think that there was one way that none of them covered, which is why I'm going to bring it up in this video. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about is the fact that this video isn't going to have anything religious in it whatsoever. I'm not going to be talking about anything. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because of the fact that there are religious people who are subscribed to me. And I wanted to get this message out to you religious people, that because of the fact that there isn't going to be anything religious in this video, I would appreciate it if you left your religious stuff behind. I would appreciate it if you left your religious agenda behind. Because if you don't, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to block you. Now, I have never blocked anyone before. I don't believe in censoring. I don't believe in silencing people at all in any way, shape, or form. I don't really care for religion in this particular video, and it has no place in it. I just wanted to let you guys know that. And the last but not least, I wanted to let you all know that in no way do I support what Elliot Rodger did. I don't condone it. I don't believe in it. I find those particular behaviors to be very disgusting indeed. So for anyone to have the bright idea that I'm supporting this individual with what he did, you guys can leave my page, okay? Because this is going to be something that is going to be very personal again. And not only is it going to be personal, it is going to, offer a different light on this particular topic at hand. Now, again, I must stress that I'm in no way, shape, or form supporting what Elliot Rodger did. I thought that his actions were terrible. I thought that his actions were completely unnecessary. And in all actuality, they did not need to happen. I am completely against what he did. Now that all those things are out of the way, I wanted to start off with the video. Now, I'm going to take us back to when I was about 16 years old. I was a really hostile individual at that point in time. And I was alone. I was bullied all the time in school. And not only was I bullied by other boys, I was also bullied by women too. And the reason why I bring up the fact that I was bullied by women is because maybe Elliot Rodger was bullied by women as well. Now, I say that because, we don't know what he did. We weren't there holding his fucking hand every step of the way as he experienced life the way that he did. So I think that it would be, an important thing to mention that maybe, hey, maybe there were women out there that did some hurtful shit to him in a way. And maybe that is why he had a hostile attitude towards them to begin with. Now, as far as women were concerned, when I was 16 years old, I was a very lonely person. I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't have any woman to turn to, I didn't tell my mom or dad anything because, they didn't really understand. I felt, I felt that my parents didn't really, had any kind of understanding of what was going on in my life, in certain ways, what I'm talking about. And I didn't really have anybody to turn to. I was an alcoholic at the age of 16. I was starting to get into this major depression mode where I was just walking around like a zombie. I was feeling numb. I was feeling blank. I didn't know what to feel, And as time went on, when I was 16 years old, the more negative interactions that I had with men and women, the more violent I started to get, the more, that I was, thinking about crazy things. And when I say crazy things, I mean crazy things. I wanted to do a lot. And I never really did that, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Like I said, when I was 16 years old, I was very hostile. And I don't want to sound a little, repetitive, but I'm going to try not to in this video. As I moved forward, like I said, I developed anger. Anger increased significantly, I might add. And I started to have these violent reactions, even towards my parents. There were times when I, unfortunately, laid my hands on my mother and my father both. And to this day, I regret that every minute that I think about that. And there were times at school where I sat there, and because of the fact that, I didn't have a girlfriend, because of the fact that I was alone, I didn't have no friends, I wanted to hurt people. I wanted to hurt them because they denied me, you know, the reality that I wanted. And it wasn't a sense of entitlement like a lot of other people bring up in their videos. You know, I didn't feel that I was entitled to have these things. I felt lonely, I wanted to feel important. I wanted to, feel loved. I wanted to feel like I had value, you know, and I didn't have anything like this, when I was young. I didn't feel that I didn't have any of these things when I was 16. And the longer that went on, the hostility, the anger, the violence, the hatred, everything increased. And there were actually points in time where I wanted to do horrible things. I wanted to do things that would make me feel better, you know. But I stayed away from them. I stayed away from doing those horrible things because, I didn't want to hurt anybody. I didn't want to hurt women. I didn't want to hurt men. And believe me, I had crazy thoughts about both, you know. I didn't want to do any of these horrible things to people because of, despite the fact that there was a part of me that wanted to hurt people, there was also another part of me that didn't. And I was constantly at war with myself. I was constantly going back and forth, having these horrible thoughts run through my head and then having positive thoughts run through my head. I was in a psychological battle pretty much, throughout my younger years. And it was horror, let me tell you. It was something that was really hard to get through. But one of the things that I uh, made it through with was positive people that eventually came into my life, like counselors. I had a lot of, positive people that really played a significant role, you know. And there was a lot of people that eventually saw what I was going through, and they said, "Hey, let's go to this guy. Let's see what's going on with him." So eventually, I started to get into football. I started to steer away from the alcohol. I still drink a lot, but I didn't really abuse it like I did when I first started it. You know, but I started, into football. People were wanting to be my friends more, and I was willing to put myself out there. Excuse me. And not only that, I was willing to take that risk. I was willing to open myself to people, and it worked out in the long run. I gained a lot of friends, both women and men, and it really helped me out in a lot of ways. Believe it or not, it did. And some of these hostile attitudes that I had, some of these violent thoughts that I had, were going away. They were slowly, going away completely. But I still had a lot of hostility towards a lot of people. And there were thoughts that would run through my mind that, that I would literally want to hurt a lot of people. But one of the things that really resonates in my mind to this day is the fact that people in society as we know it really don't take people that are having these particular problems seriously, they don't really pay attention to what's going on in these people's everyday lives. And the reason why I say that is because during the time when I was having this whole hostility towards women in general, how I wanted to hurt them, how I wanted to do some terrible shit, I told a lot of people what I wanted to do. And it was basically, a cry for help for me. But in all honesty, what did I get? Nothing. Nobody reacted to it. Nobody said anything. No one at that particular point in time offered any kind of help, any kind of counseling, or anything else for that matter. It's just like what I said went in one ear and out the other. And this probably was an issue for Elliot Rodger as well. I think that maybe, he obviously told some people about certain things and even left a manifesto for that matter. And I think in a lot of ways people didn't really take him seriously. Like, for example, the whole cop issue when they were called and they went to talk to Elliot. They didn't really take him seriously. They didn't really pay attention to the details for that matter. And as a result of that, things happened the way that they did. I think that, his parents were extremely negligent with this particular issue, and by the time they came to about the whole situation, it was already too late. And that's one of the things that really bugs me the most. Because, like I said, when I reached out to people and when I started to talk about all of the horrible things that I wanted to do in my life, nobody paid any kind of attention to me. Nobody wanted to sit there and actually invest the time to talk to me about things, to see what they can do to help. Nobody did anything. They completely ignored me. And that's one of the problems I think that society has when these issues come up, because a lot of people really don't pay attention to these things, and they only really want to do something when bad things happen. All of a sudden people are concerned with gun control. People are concerned with, what's going to happen with this, what's going to happen with that. But they're never really concerned, about anything before the shit hits the fan. You know what I mean? They're not really wanting to put out the fire at its base. They're only wanting to put out the fire at the top where the flames are. That ain't going to happen. Why not just start when the fire is small before it gets bigger and out of control to where you can't even control it? People start panicking. People start, complaining about guns, complaining about this, complaining about the fact that there was nobody there to help these individuals when they were in these particular situations. They only bring all of this stuff up after the situation has already occurred. And my whole problem with the issue is, like I said, invest the time in, before these things happen. Take this shit seriously, man. Because, like I said before, when I said the things that I said about people, nobody really took me seriously. Nobody, paid attention. And to me, that is one of the biggest fucking problems that society has in general with these types of things. And another thing that I had a big problem with, I think that I mentioned it in this video a little bit earlier, it was about this whole entitlement issue. I didn't really think that I was entitled. So, I just was missing a lot of things that I wanted in my life. I wasn't entitled to have them. I just wanted them, and I think this was an issue with Elliot Rodger as well. That's where I think, a lot of people got it wrong with this whole thing about entitlement. And I think that these were very important things to talk about, because in no way, shape, or form, like I said earlier in the video, that I was supporting Elliot Rodger with what he did. But I think that a lot of people need to pay attention to things, especially in my case, because I was a horrible individual. I didn't really care what I did to other people. I would tell people a lot of bad things. I would try and hurt people physically and psychologically. And I had these horrible, preposterous reasons why I wanted to do it. And now that I look back on it, I could say, that I was a very disturbed individual back then. And in many ways, there are things that I'm dealing with right now, that are not as serious like that, but, they're serious enough to bring some attention to me. And fortunately, I have some positive people in my life right now that are helping me a lot. And that I'm extremely thankful for. So because of the fact that I feel that there was a few things that weren't discussed in other videos that I've seen people make about Elliot Rodger, I wanted to share a situation that wasn't really mentioned in any other videos. And that was kind of the similarities I had to his situation. I was a very horrible individual. I have a lot of issues. I had a lot of issues at that particular time as well. And I wanted to kind of go back even further a little bit to where I was about 12 years old. I was very horrible, even worse. I had homicidal tendencies. Um, I was very hostile towards everybody. I wanted to hurt things. I didn't really care. I didn't have an ounce of care in me. I didn't have an ounce of compassion. I didn't have an ounce of empathy. I didn't have an ounce of anything, you know. And I think that, I had a lot of psychological issues. And I think, in many ways that this might have applied to Elliot Rodger as well. And I wanted to talk about that, because people were talking about a lot of things about these stories, but no one had a topic to talk about like mine. No one had a topic, to talk about where they could share similar stories about themselves, that were similar to Elliot Rodger's story. And like I said before, what he did was very horrible. But I had those same exact visions in my mind. I wanted to do those exact same things. But due to the fact that, like I said earlier, the positive people that were in my life at that particular point in time, they managed to catch me when I was falling from rationality. You know, they caught me, which was a good thing. They brought me back up to where I needed to be, and I was able to function better. I was able to concentrate a lot better. People were starting to see that I had a lot of confidence in myself, as far as life in general was concerned. And because of that, I started to, get a lot more friends, both male and female. People were seeing the real me. People were seeing a person that started to have compassion for people, started to have, friendships that were very valuable. And I took all of these friendships very seriously. And I wanted to, make even more friends. I wanted to portray myself as this really nice guy. I wouldn't go as far as Elliot Rodger did with this whole supreme gentleman bullshit, because I think that's all nonsense. I think that he was extremely delusional with that whole thing. But I wanted to make more friends, and I did. I had a chance to make a lot of good friends. And, I went through football, like I said, my freshman year in high school, my junior year, my sophomore year. And I started to do track, started to get more friends, and I had a lot of people in my life that played a positive, significant role in it. And I'm extremely thankful for that. And I think that a lot of these things were denied to Elliot Rodger. I think that a lot of these things were completely absent in his life. And I think that was the main reason why he spiraled out of control and did what he did. You know, I think, being that his father was the director of the Hunger Games and whatnot, I think that his parents were very busy with what they did, and they didn't really spend time with him. They didn't really invest the time that they needed to, as far as he was concerned. And as a result of that, it spiraled out of control. I think that there was a lack of positive influences in his life that really, damaged him a lot, and it was a big psychological issue for people. And I think that misogyny had a role in this whole thing, but I think it wasn't the biggest role. I think that it was his mental illness issue. I think that his mental illness played a significant role. I mean, played a big role. I probably think the biggest role. And I think that that was a main problem because of what he did. And again, misogyny played a role in it, but it wasn't as big as, the other issues that he was having as far as mental disorders are concerned. And as a result of all of these negative things happening, and as a result of all of this bad stuff that was going on in this particular individual's life, he did what he did. And like I said before, I'm not supporting in any way, shape, or form what he did. I think that it was horrible what he did. It should have never happened. But I think that if people caught it early, I think that if people actually invested the time into this individual and really help him, through the hardships that he was experiencing in his life, I think that the outcome would have been much different. I think the outcome, would have been something a little bit more positive. It wouldn't have been probably perfect, but it would have been a little bit, positive, compared to the way it ended up. And, that's why I wanted to share this with you guys, because I think that there was a lot of people, again, who left, something out. I wanted to offer my own insight into this situation. And that's why I wanted to make this video for you guys. And I know that this video I said was going to be an hour or 2 hours long, but I wanted to chop it down a little bit. I wanted to, chop it down to where I kept things quick and brief, and I wanted to explain things the best that I could, so you guys can actually, get where I'm coming from, and hopefully you guys got where I'm coming from on this issue. If you don't, please feel free to leave your comments in the comment section about this. Let me know if there was any problems that you had with what I said in this video. I'd be more than happy to listen to them. If you guys want to have a hangout with me to get to know me or get to know my particular situation a little bit better, I'd be more than happy to get on the hangout with you guys, and we can have a talk, we can have a chat, we can iron things out, we can, just talk about anything. It don't necessarily have to be about religion, and we could just, get to know each other a little bit better. But like I said, I felt that people that made their videos, we're talking about a wide array of topics, and they pretty much covered a lot of things. But I wanted to bring it up because, again, there was one particular area that I feel nobody talked about, and that was my particular topic, my particular personal experience, and, I felt that it was very relevant for this video because it had a lot of similarities to Elliot Rodger's similarities as well, and that's Elliot Rodger, not Rodgers, sorry. But that's why I wanted to bring it up. And I hope you guys liked this video, and like I said, please feel free to leave your comments down below. Share this video with anyone that might be interested, whether it be on Facebook, Google+, Tumblr, wherever you guys hang out. Till next time, Quiet Atheist is out. And remember, if you can't be good at it. Most of all, thank you for watching, and I will see you next video. And like I said, hopefully you guys like this video, and hopefully we can get a good discussion going on this. And like I said, I'll be more than happy to have a hangout with any of you guys, because I want you guys to know more about me. Because after all, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have a channel in the first place. So I thank you guys a lot. I've said that many times before, but I feel like saying it 100 times, because as my as my channel gets bigger, I realize that it's because of you guys, and I realize that it's because of you guys allowing me to have a voice, sharing my videos with everybody, sharing my videos with everybody that you want to share them with, is important to me, because I want to send my ideas out there about religion and send my ideas out there about everything else for that matter. And that's what matters to me. And I thank you guys for doing that for me. I really do. So I will see you later, and I will see you next video.